There's always going to be demand for a $500 bedroom. Always. You just happen to have plugged into a really cool niche with these temporary workers. But even if that went away, you would still be able to find roommates.
There's cooks. There's people that are working at, hospitals. There's traveling nurses. There's, people that are working, in restaurants. There's always going to be people that are going to need, like you said, $500-$600 housing instead of, if you're paying $2,000 in a loft downtown right now because, the market's good. Well, good for you. But I guarantee you're going to come crawling down the street when, it hits the fan.
Welcome to the BiggerPockets Best Deal Ever show. I'm your lovable host, Ken Corsini, who with my wife, Anita, have flipped over 800 houses in Atlanta since 2005 and even have a show on HGTV. But this show isn't about us. It's about all the amazing real estate investors out there that are crushing it. It's about their stories, their best deals, how they sourced them, how they funded them, and what we can learn from their experiences. This is the Best Deal Ever show. Hey, this is Ken Corsini with the Best Deal Ever show. On today's episode, I am joined by Felipe Mejia. Felipe, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? Hey, thanks for having me, man. Super excited.
Yeah, awesome. So you're actually right up the road from me, a couple hours up in Nashville, right?
That's right, buddy. Right up the road. About 4 or 5 hours, depending how you drive.
Oh, you're a slow driver, dude. That's 3 hours all day long.
Oh, Jesus.
We're talking 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, geez.
And you're south of Nashville too, aren't you? What town are you actually in?
So I actually live in a little town called Laverne, Tennessee. Okay. I moved away from the boom of Nashville, man. Geez, it's starting to become a tiny Atlanta, dude. The traffic's terrible. So I was like, nope, I'm moving out.
Wow. So Laverne, is that next to Shirley?
It's close to a city called Smyrna and Murfreesboro.
You just missed that. Laverne and Shirley right next to each. You're too young to get the Laverne and Shirley joke.
Is that terrible? Am I supposed to miss that?
Oh, no. You're a millennial. You don't get
You're starting to interview younger and younger guys.
Wait, I'm starting to feel really old right now. That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Hey, so tell us what you do in Laverne. What's your primary business model?
What I do, man, is I find these homes that have a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. That's how it's listed like on the MLS or whatever, right? It's just 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 15 or 1,400 square feet. So the reason I know what I do and how the model that I've built basically is because I know my city so strong. I can tell what street a house is on and I know if I want to look at it or not. So if they're listing it like a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, I know there's not a true master. Mm-hmm. And then what I do is I know that it has a 2-car garage and a loft downstairs. So in my business, what I do is I add an extra bathroom to the loft downstairs, create a true master, and then I add 2 bedrooms where the garages are. So I close out the garage, throw up some drywall, some sticks, some paint, and make, some 2 more rooms downstairs. So basically I'm adding, the whole upstairs, downstairs with a true master in a 30,000 foot view. That's what I do.
Man, that's super specific. So you're just targeting these specific houses in this specific area, and you're just turning them into rentals.
That's absolutely right. I really wish I would meet the contractor or the builder who did this because no one's looking for these houses. And I hope the guys that are listening to your show aren't going to start competing with me.
People are writing down, where is this? This is
exactly. No, they don't. There's no competition. Who's looking for a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, no true master, 2-car garage with a 15 by 20 loft downstairs? It sounds like a whole bunch of waste of space.
Sure. Yeah.
To me, I see gold. I'm like, no, I'm definitely going to convert these into bedrooms.
So are you doing this is this your full-time gig or do you have a job and you're doing this on the side?
Yeah, man. So the Lord's really blessed me this year. I've actually shut down my moving company at the end of this month, and I'm going to go into this full-time. Yep. This will be it.
Wow. So you had a moving company. This was sort of your side hustle. I'm building some wealth through these rentals, but they're creating enough cash flow for you now.
Yep, and it inverted basically the cash flow. Well, basically my time per dollar is now switched over to, I'm more effective in the real estate versus in the moving company. So like in the moving company, I was making anywhere from, $75 to $100 an hour, and that's been more inverted with my rental properties, and I'm worth more, doing this over here.
Unbelievable. Okay, so let's dive right in then. I'm assuming your best deal ever is one of these types of splits?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a really sweet property that I took very recently. And I can get right into it. Let me know when you're ready and we can knock it out.
Let's talk about it. How'd you find the sucker?
Awesome. So like I said, the MLS, man, and it's been sitting there for like 30, 40 days. Like there's no one that is looking for these properties. And I literally, if I go right now on the website, I'll find, 3 or 4. and I can just bid on them. Yeah, there's no one looking for them. And what's really cool is I can underbid 20 grand and I still might get it because no one's buying it.
What
are you looking for a 3-bedroom?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Are you looking with a 2-car garage?
Right. The agent's actually surprised. Wait, you actually want my house? Hold on a second.
Wait, you made an offer?
I don't know what to do next.
Great. Yeah, so I'm picking them up so my bread and butter is 200 and I'll go up to 220. As the market's getting hotter, people are just starting to throw out some outrageous numbers. I've seen the same house for like 280 and I'm like, dude, I bought one 5 days ago for like 200. No one's going to give you that. So I don't offer. I just wait for them to start dropping and then, I can make an offer. But I mean, I have a pick of the litter, so I'm not really out there competing with anybody.
What a great little niche you fell into. Okay,
yeah,
so this specific deal, what did you end up buying it for off the MLS?
Yeah, so the asking price was 220. We offered 180 and we closed at 190.
Okay.
Yep. Like I said, my bread and butter is 220, or 200 to 220 tops. I would have gone up to 200. I hope he's not listening. But we came in at 190. $2,000 in fees, like inspections, termites, a bunch of the little, I throw in my contractors, my plumbers, I throw in a bunch of guys to double check everything for me just because I don't do real estate sexy. I'm not like super crazy with it. I have to know everything. I'm just that guy that's like super anal. Most people will spend tops $500 on an inspection. I'm doing like $1,500 because I'm throwing my contractors in there. I'm throwing, all these guys to make sure that I'm not, walking into something that's going to really hurt me later.
Sure. That's smart.
Yeah.
So you bought this thing for 190 and then what sort of money do you put into it? 192?
190 plus 2,000 in fees and everything. So 192. Gotcha. We did just a typical loan, 20% down, 80% loan. The moment we closed, the equity in it was 27 grand.
So you're getting a conventional loan on this?
Yeah, I'm just regular conventional loan and then get my money out later.
And conventional loan, and then you just put your own money into the repairs?
Yeah, and then we'll talk about that. I just basically put my money in, and then I'll just get a line of credit in about a year once it seasons a little bit. Okay. And then refilter the money, really.
I got you.
Cash flow pays for it anyway, so it's cool.
Interesting. Okay, so then what did you do to the house?
We got about 27 grand in equity on the property based on its value right now. Okay. Plus, we paid down the 20%, so I'll be able to get a line of credit hopefully by the end of the year for about 35 grand on it, and then just recycle that money. Gotcha. We're going to put in about 15 to 18 grand into the property to build out the downstairs. Luckily, I know a lot of the contractors and I know a lot of the labor guys. So I'm saving a lot of money there. Basically, where most of my money goes to is material. And we'll talk about what my, who I rent to. But basically, I use my renters as my labor as well from my other homes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. You're gonna like that.
So how do you? What exactly do you do to these specific houses to convert them?
Sure. So what I'll do is, the loft area downstairs that we talked a minute ago, I add a bathroom in that loft. So I close out a certain amount of area. I'll have my plumber come in. Remember during inspection, I told you I have my guys come in. So my plumber during inspection will come in and draw where he needs the framer to put up walls, where he's going to bust out the concrete and basically add a shower, a toilet, and a place to wash your hands. We make a quick bathroom, tile it up, and it's ready to rock and roll. So he'll tell me basically his price before I even purchase the house during inspection period.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I do to the loft area.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was like 15 by 20 typically.
Okay.
And then if you walk out of the loft, you're going to walk into a 2-car garage. Now the 2-car garage has 2 beams in the middle that's holding up the structure of the house as well. And I actually use those beams to drywall around, and I build 2 rooms. Does that kind of make sense visually? Can you think of that?
Yep.
So then I add a bath. So I split the 2-car garage into 4 spaces. 2 bedrooms that are about 12 by 10s, a bathroom, and a kitchen.
Oh, dang. Wow.
Yeah. So my plumber comes in and my electrician comes in and my framer come in during inspection. I pay them their day labor rate, just to come out and tell me what it's going to cost. And they basically draw it out and they talk to each other while they're there.
Well, you've done enough of these too at this point. They don't even
come in. Half the time they're like, dude, just send me the money and I'm going to tell you what it is and I'm going to honor it. And I'm like, okay.
And so to convert the loft and convert the 2-car garage into 2-room, basically a little apartment.
Yep.
That's running you about 18 grand total.
My last one was 20. So prices are going up, but I like to stay between the 15 and 20 mark.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll tell you where, so I can tell you, so since like you said, I've done this model a couple times. And what I like about it is the same guys that are doing my work are actually traveling professionals. And that's what I call them because they're not just construction guys. These are they're blue collar traveling professionals, you could say. Yep. Basically, a construction company will pay Alejandro from Texas that knows how to drive a certain crane instead of training somebody here in Nashville. They'll bring them up, give them a living stipend, and say, hey, here's $1,500, $2,000, whatever, to live in Nashville. You have the same job. Half the time they just leave their families back in their state and send the money back, but they need to find a place to stay. Whether it's an 8-month, 1 year, 1.5 year contract with the company, they rarely do they want to get an apartment. They just want to rent a room and keep the most of the stipend. So those are the same guys that I hired to do the labor in the house. So if they're in a different one of my houses, then they help me with the labor in this house.
Okay. It sounds, I mean, for 15, 20 grand, that's still pretty good considering all the work that you're doing.
It's fantastic. It really is.
So like in this particular house, you start at 192, you put another 20 in it?
Yep, that's exactly right. Put another 20,000 into it.
So you're in for 212, let's say, 212 all said and done. With conventional financing, 20 grand's out of pocket. And let's talk about your rent then. You're renting the top and the bottom independently?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mortgage comes out to about $1,136 with this specific property that we're talking about.
Okay.
That's monthly taxes, insurance, P&I, just everything. And then we rent it out for about $1,400 a month, the upstairs. Room by room, we rent $500 each room upstairs, which is $1,500. And then I do $100 that I just leave in the bank for cash reserves for anything that comes up. And honestly, I typically like to spend that every month, whether it's $50 in changing out the lights, the filters, and a cleaning crew or whatever, right? I like to put the money back into the property little by little.
But you're really you're getting $1,500 though.
Yeah, we're getting $1,500 up top. Yeah, absolutely. In my spreadsheet though, for personal, just so visually, I just put $1,400 because I know $100 sits in this little reserve account on the side. So we cash flow maybe $300, $350 on the top.
Okay.
And most investors stop there. They're like, okay, $30,000, $40,000 investment, $400 cash flow, close to the 1% rule may or may not work.
Sure.
But I wouldn't get out of bed for $300 a month. I don't know. When I was doing real estate, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do, I was like, man, how do people live off this 1%? Like I don't want to have 100 houses to retire. I want 10,
Right.
So then what I started, like I said, like with my model, the downstairs, I build it out and we're renting the loft, the true master for about $700.
Okay.
Yeah. So we rent the true master downstairs with a private entrance and private bathroom for $700.
Okay.
And then we rent the 2-bedroom private kitchen and bath for about another $700 as well. Like the split 2 rooms in the garage.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then there's the golden nugget. And
they have a separate entrance too, or it's kind of so there's really there's 3 entrances then.
So the cool thing about the downstairs is when I got my mason guy in there building me the 2 walls where the garage is.
Yeah.
I asked them to build me a 36 door.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right where the thing is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. I can build walls faster than our government.
Yeah.
No point in
it. Yeah.
So yeah, I asked for a 36-inch door and that's it, man. They got their own private entrance as well. So I guess it is like 3 separate dwellings almost.
So the guy in the master though, which kitchen does he use?
So what I do for him is where I have his master bathroom, I can also, it depends on what house it is, but this specific one, we didn't add a kitchen. So he can use the one that's in the middle where the garage is. So he can just walk out, use the kitchen there and all that fun stuff. But you got to remember, these are construction guys.
Yeah.
Rarely are they cooking.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
They get a little microwave or a little hot pot and they're good to go, man.
That's it, man. They usually pick up like food on their way home. In Nashville, we have a whole lot of mom and pop shops and a ton of like little Mexican stores that do like, food going out.
Yep.
And they love it. One of the biggest questions that I get though, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun here, but one of the biggest questions I get is, well, oh, you're feeding off the construction boom. You know what happened in 2008. What's going to happen to you? Right. So hope I'm not jumping the gun on a question, but I want to answer that because I know that's what your listeners are thinking. And I'll never forget, my parents got divorced when I was 11. And we had a house like the one I'm explaining to you. So you don't know this story, and I wanted to wait till we were recording. But my parents got divorced when I was 11, and my mom has one of these houses that I'm telling you about. Like, that's where we grew up.
Okay.
And when my dad left, just like probably a lot of people, so did the money.
Yep.
So the last 20, 30 grand that my mom had, she added bedrooms downstairs to supplement his income.
Gotcha.
Dad left, took his money.
Yep.
My mom, rented the downstairs, same way that I'm doing it now, but she only did one. And I'll never forget the conversation that I had with her before starting this model or during. I had about 2 of these already. And I was asking, I was like, hey, Mom, what'd you do in 2008, 2009? What happened? And with a straight face, she looked at me and said, "What happened in '08?" And I was like, "The crash, Mom. The rental, the game, man. It all went down." And she didn't feel a bit of it. She said, if anything, she had more tenants than she knew what to do with because people were losing their home and they needed a place to stay. So renting by the room made sense.
Oh, dude, this model would crush in the downturn. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So my mom gave me a word of advice, and this comes from, someone that's not educated, that my mom went to like third grade, and she's at a huge cleaning company now. She's doing really good. She said, Felipe, if you want to get wealthy on what I call Walmart money. Don't get wealthy on Target and these, or even just, the mall's money. And I was like, what do you mean by that? She goes, Felipe, in a downturn, in an upturn, and it doesn't matter, Walmart has never closed the store. Yeah. And I was like, man, that makes sense. Like, I get that. Yeah. And she was like, provide that kind of value, obviously more value than Walmart, but I get what she was saying.
Yeah, right. Well, there's always going to be demand for a $500 bedroom. Always. It doesn't matter what market you're in. So absolutely. Yes. You just happen to have plugged into a really cool niche with these temporary workers. But even if that went away, you would still be able to find roommates.
There's cooks. There's people that are working at, hospitals. There's traveling nurses. There's, people that are working, in restaurants. There's always going to be people that are going to need, like you said, $500-$600 housing instead of, if you're paying $2,000 in a loft downtown right now because, the market's good. Well, good for you. But I guarantee you're going to come crawling down the street when, it hits the fan.
That's right.
Because it's going to happen.
Eventually, 100%. What a great model. It's interesting. You have carved out the perfect niche in your own backyard where you even know the how, like, the streets, the neighborhoods, you do it all day long. You've plugged into, but I mean, folks, there's a number of people that are doing, in fact, I have a house right now where we rent it out by the bedroom. It's nothing super organized, but we get way more rent by going by the bedroom. And there's a company out there right now called Pad Split. That's it's a startup out of Atlanta, and they basically put some legality and some structure around it. Renting out by the bedroom, I'm telling you, man, it's a great business model. And how many houses do you have now?
That's funny because it never correlates with how many tenants I have. So we have 7 houses, but we have, what is that? 6 bedrooms so 7 times 6. I mean, we have like 40 tenants, dude. It's insane.
But your cash flow has got to be like $10,000 on like 7 houses.
Yeah, it's $1,400 per property. Do the math. I mean,
there you go. Right.
Yeah, do the math. And that's kind of where we're at, man. Now, let me tell you some bad things about that, because some of your listeners are like, oh, that's all bread and butter. That sounds really good. Like, that's all great. That's really hard to prove with the bank when getting another loan.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of interesting concepts there because it's such a new model. But anything that's new, we're the pioneers and we have to figure it out. Yeah. So I had to find a bank that would allow me to be bankable with this model. And they took a leap of faith on me, and it works. Now they won't let me do anything but 20% down. But they know that after a year, I'm going to get a line of credit, get my money out. But after a year, we've built trust and, that whole bit. Yep. So I tell people, don't just take no as an answer. Just ask why. Like, well, why not? Well, because of this. Okay, well, let's work on that and let's figure that out. Don't just shy away because you get a no. Right. When I started this model, it was really hard to get bankable because I was renting by the room. Sure. And not a traditional. I was a square trying to get in a
same thing with Airbnb. I mean, we've all got that problem now. The Airbnbs, and they don't want to count it as income because it's not just a conventional lease.
That's exactly
like you said.
right.
We're the entrepreneurs, man. We got to bust through and find a way to get these things done.
That's right. We got to grit through it every day.
That's awesome, Felipe. Man, this was a great one. Really good especially for somebody that's starting out, want to figure out how to ramp up their cash flow with just a handful of properties. Man, this is the way to do it.
Yep, rent by the room. There's always going to be tenants, man. Don't think that people are going to be shy to share a bathroom because we all did it in college, right?
That's right.
If you weren't in an apartment and you had a dorm like the rest of us, you had to share a bathroom. So don't shy away from it. Don't think there's always going to be somebody that needs a dwelling. And if it's just a room for 6 months to a year, I mean, your cash flow is going to literally double to where you don't have to have a 1-year lease.
That's right.
If you can double your cash flow in 6 months, then you have 6 months to find someone else.
And even if you're losing a bedroom here and a bedroom there, it's still cash flowing. I mean, some small amount of vacancy is a big deal. It's almost like a mini multifamily, really.
That's exactly right. I literally have to lose 40% of my tenants before I'm breaking even.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. It never happens.
Such a good model. Felipe, man, thanks so much for coming on, man. This is fantastic.
Absolute pleasure to be here, buddy. Thanks so much.
Talk soon. Thanks for listening to the Best Deal Ever show, brought to you by BiggerPockets. If you've been energized, entertained, or enlightened by today's show, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ken Corsini, or check us out online at redbarnhomes.com. Don't forget, one man's best deal ever may be the inspiration you need to create your next best deal. So, hope to see you on the next episode.